And we are live. This is UFC 223, Max Holloway versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, Bro Picks. This is Ricky.
What's up, guys? This is Justin. We're back. It's been a 3 week break. It kind of sucks on having UFC every weekend, but we're back. And I mean, before we talk about the card, let's talk about Tony Ferguson real quick. Obviously, it hurts, man, because I'm a big fan. I had a big bet on him, and I mean, who knows really what happened about the injury, but yeah, dude, Max taking this fight on short notice. We got T City that's flying there. I mean, what do you think about this?
I think it's just so crazy. It's still hard to believe. I don't know if I'm in shock or what, but I was so stoked for this card for this fight. Khabib versus Tony, but it was already going to be what, the fourth time or something like that. Now they both dropped.
Yeah.
Now they both dropped 2 times each, so a fourth time that they tried to make this fight happen, and it hasn't happened. I mean, I thought it was a great matchup. I was very interested to see what was going to happen with Tony's jiu-jitsu and Khabib's grappling. It was going to be going down on the mat. It sucks that we're not going to see it, but Max stepped up like a true champ, and we're gonna hopefully makes the weight good and doesn't affect the fight, and he shows up healthy on Saturday, man. I really want to see a good fight. But I'm still upset about Tony Ferguson because they said that he fucking he slipped on a fucking cord or something like that and tore his fucking ACL like on a cord. You're like training MMA, you're fucking kicking shit, like you know what I mean? Like, I guess like that there's videos of him kicking poles, like, and not getting hurt. But he slips on a fucking cord and gets hurt. Like, it sucks that had to happen, but I don't know, man. And then now he gets stripped from his interim title. It kind of sucks too. So
yeah, man, it sucks. I mean, I had a big bet on him. Me and Newsom, talked about like probably for like 2 hours on this podcast about the fight, and now it's not even happening. So I mean, it is what it is. But I hope he comes back. I mean, I don't know, maybe end of the year, we'll see. But a freak injury like that, kind of sucks. I mean, he gets hurt a lot though. He's had a lot of injuries. He's getting older, so we'll see how he looks when he comes back. But let's talk about last card for a couple minutes. The main event. Yeah, dude, Volkov went out there and handled business. He showed that he's a top guy, man. He's definitely a top 5 dude in the division, and you just can't trust Verdum anymore, man. I mean, the dude is just, I don't know, man. That fight IQ is just not really there. I mean, he had some success on the ground, but his chin, dude. I mean, what do you think? I don't know what's gonna happen with him from here. I think he should just, I don't know, man, retire or what?
yeah, I think he should either look for big money fights against like older guys, his age, or retire because, yeah, he's on his way out. I think after that loss, Volkov just ended up, out like showing he was a more durable fighter and finished him off, in the 4th round or something like that. I lost 2 units on that. Learned my lesson. I thought Verdum was gonna be able to take him down on the mat and sub him, but I guess Volkov was a little better than I thought. I underestimated the guy, and kind of teaches me to go against these guys that are kind of like on a streak. A young guy that's like, Volkov is kind of fairly young to the game. Like new to the game, I guess. So he's kind of young in the UFC, I think. So at least compared to Verdum, he's a top guy. So. I think he can beat fucking Overeem for sure, or a lot of top guys in that division. So
He can't beat Blades.
I learned oh no, Blades is good, but that's another fight. But anyway, yeah, it just teaches me a lesson. You kind of fade these older guys, and I don't know why I didn't. So gotta learn from that, and. You either fade them or stay away, I think. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I kind of learned whatever card. I barely watched it anyway. So,
Yeah, I already have my recap video, for like a half an hour. I went one-on-one. I lost on end camp. Yeah, man. I mean, he just didn't show up. Hot Chocolate smoked him. But don't get me wrong. I'm still, going to be fading Hot Chocolate very soon. I don't think the guy has a good chin. He showed up. He knocked out end camp, but end camp showed that, he's not really UFC caliber. And Danny Henry, cashed me a big dog. He went out there and hurt Hakeem on the feet and then choked him out with a Darce in like 30 seconds. That was pretty impressive.
That wasn't a Darce, was it? It was a fucking guillotine.
Thought it was a Darce. It was like a front choke. It's like one of his special moves. He has like 4 wins by that.
A front choke?
It was like a Darce or a front. We can look it up right now.
What the fuck is a front choke?
That's what they call it, man. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it was.
Who's they? That's what they call it? I've never heard of a front choke.
I'm pretty sure, like...
I've heard of a guillotine choke. I've heard of a guillotine choke.
Yeah, he didn't take his back and choke him out, if that's what you're trying to say.
No, I've heard of a rear naked choke when you take someone's back.
Bro, it was a
guillotine choke.
It was a Darce choke, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it was a guillotine choke. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I don't know. Whatever kind of choke it was pretty sweet and his go-to move. And he's just, I said it, man. He was the bigger dude and he had a huge advantage on the mat. I didn't know he was going to go out there and drop him. But yeah, he did. So congrats to him. And I look forward to seeing, him in the future because I do like the kid a lot. So yeah, without talking about that, let's dive into the card. So in the first fight of the night, we got Zabit Magomedov versus Kyle Bochniak. And yeah, this is a pretty good fight. I do think the line is pretty off. I do think that, Zabit's going to win, but I don't think he should be a minus 800. Bochniak is a tough dude, I don't think he's a jogger. I think he's no slouch. He kind of weasels his way getting wins. I don't think he'd be Barzola, but, he got the nod there. He went out there and beat Davis last fight. He looked decent. His striking's whatever. He has a good chin. Doesn't really have much power, and he does have good takedown defense, but he's not good. I don't think it's going to matter here because, Zabit's, an up-and-coming dude. He has a very good grappler, good on the feet, and he's definitely, a good prospect, and I do think he's going to go out there and get a win. Is he going to finish him? I don't think so. I think Bochniak's super tough, so I think it goes 30-27 Zabit. Maybe, Kyle might win one round, but yeah, it's dog or pass in the situation, and Bochniak's super tempting at these odds, but I'm gonna pass. But yeah, don't be playing that minus 800 on Zabit. So yeah, I got the Russian. What about you?
Yeah, I got Zabit too. I wouldn't bet on him, but I do have him in. Maybe should we start giving out DraftKings plays or what?
We could. I'm down.
Yeah, I do think he's a good DraftKings guy. He does have a lot of finishes. He's got submissions, he's got TKOs. So I have him in some of my lineups. I think he's a good grappler, and yeah, man, he's a big favorite. But I do think he's a big favorite in the betting odds. But in DraftKings, he was not that bad. So I have him in one of my lineups, and I think he's gonna do good. I think he's gonna win too. He might even finish Bochniak. So I got Zabit. All right, next fight we got Mike Rodriguez versus Devin Clark. Devin Clark, I think, is the guy that's known from getting choked by John Blachowicz, right? Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Standing choke by John Blachowicz. Pretty bad if you ask me. John was piecing him up, but we've seen John seen huge improvements from him, so whatever. But I'm still gonna go with Devin Clark to get the win over Mike or Rodriguez. Rodriguez is making his UFC debut, and I don't know much about it, so I'm gonna go with Devin Clark. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going the opposite way. I got Rodriguez. I'm gonna go pretty much everybody against. I'm pretty much gonna be going against Devin Clark unless he fights, some absolute scrub. But I don't think Devin Clark's that good. He has a terrible chin. Alex Nicholson knocked this guy out. Who's Alex Nicholson? That's Mike Perry's brother, and the dude just got knocked out. Outside of UFC. I don't think Nicholson's good at all. And I don't know, man. Just Devin Clark drops the ball too much, dude. He's super inconsistent. he's a good wrestler, but his stand-up's not that good. And you go out there and get, standing guillotine against Jan. I mean, yeah, Jan's good, but I mean, standing guillotine against Jan, then you get knocked out against Nicholson. I mean, I don't think he's UFC material. And Rodriguez looked pretty good on Contender Series. He trained with Joe Lauzon, so I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, man, I do think he looked pretty impressive on Contender Series, and the dude is, has serious knockout power. He's big for the division. And I don't think that Devin Clark's going to go out there and, out-grapple him. So I think that Rodriguez is going to go out there and get a knockout, but I'm not confident in playing him. So, yeah, I got Rodriguez. So next fight, we got Beck Rawlings versus Ashley Evans Smith. This is the pass. If the line was, a little more closer, I might be, playing Ashley Evans Smith. She's a good DraftKings play. I do have her on DraftKings. And I think that she's better everywhere, man. I don't think Beck belongs in UFC. Evan Smith isn't a world beater. I mean, I don't think she's a jobber, but she's not really that good. But, she's a tough girl. She's huge. She's way bigger than Beck. She's, decent striker. She hung in there with Caitlin Vieira, man. I mean, yeah, Vieira won the fight, but I mean, she had her moments in that fight. And I mean, she's only lost to good fighters, man. Vieira, Renault. She didn't beat Renault. Renault beat her. And I think she lost to Cheesecake Moraes, and she lost to Rocky, who's fighting Nunez, Tisha Torres' girlfriend. But yeah, man, I think Evan Smith is just a better fighter. I think she's better everywhere, but I won't be betting it at minus 200. But yeah, I got Ashley Evan Smith. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you too, but it's a huge pass on this. You never know from these girls, man. They both kind of fucking suck, if you ask me. So can't trust them with my money. But I'm gonna go with Ashley Evans Smith just because she's the least of the worst fighter. But I don't know. Even Beck Rawlings has her moments, so I wouldn't be surprised if she gets the upset. But I'm still going with Ashley Evans Smith. Next fight is Artem Lobov versus Alex Caceres, and Artem Lobov, he's a very inconsistent fighter. His weakness, though, I think, are takedowns, and very elite strikers with long arms, like Cub Swanson. But, he did beat Teruto in a pretty dominant fashion, and as well as Chris Avila. But, I mean, let's be honest, both of those guys kind of suck. To be honest, both of these guys that are pretty inconsistent now that I think about it, because Alex Caceres is pretty inconsistent as well. He has a loss to Guan Wang, some random Chinese guy. He beat Rolando Dai. Lost to Jason Knight when Jason Knight was looking good before Ricardo Lamas changed his life. So, it's both of these guys are kind of inconsistent. It's kind of hard to tell which one's going to come out looking good. But if I had to put my money on someone, it would probably be on Artem Lobov. But, just because I do think it's a good style it's a good matchup for him, I guess. He can. They're both strikers. It's very easy. It's very easy to figure out Lobov too. He just likes to come forward and with his hands down. So I wouldn't be surprised if Caceres wins as well. So it's a huge pass. But I'm gonna go with Artem for get the upset, just because he's just gonna get inside and land the more devastating shots.
Yeah, this is a close fight. But I'm gonna have to go on with Artem too. That Chinese guy you were talking about, that Caceres lawsuit, that dude's actually no slouch. That dude's pretty good. But yeah, dude, Caceres is so consistent. He's probably the most consistent fighter in the division. Or I'm sorry, in the UFC. One of the most guys. There's another guy we'll be talking about later on the card. But yeah, you don't know what you're gonna get from him. The dude has not a good chin. I mean, Francisco Rivera knocked him out. I mean, I think Lobov throws bombs, and I mean Lobov's actually in there with a guy with a similar record to him. He's not fighting Cub anymore, so. I think Lobov might style on him, man. I think Lobov's gonna, push the pace and connect in that chin. I think he actually might get him out of there. If not, I think he's gonna win a decision. But I just don't see how Leroy wins. I mean, he doesn't have the grappling. I don't think to out grapple him. And on the feet, he's gonna be dancing around. I think Artem's just gonna, get in his face and hurt him on the feet. So yeah, I got Artem, but I'll be passing. So next fight we got Evan Dunham versus OAM. this is a good fight, man. It's one of my favorite fights tonight. I'm passing because it's a very close fight. I like both these guys, and it's a very tough fight to call. I've been going back and forth, but I'm gonna have to go with Evan Dunham. I think that he has the better boxing. I think he has the better striking. OAM's the bigger guy. He has a good jab. On the ground, though, dude, that's where it gets interesting. They both have good ground games. I think OAM might be stronger. He might be the better athlete, but I think Dunham has the better cardio. There's no quitting Dunham, man. He hasn't lost in his last 5 fights. Look at the Benny fight. Benny smoked him first round, and then he went out there and I thought he won the fight. I thought he won the second and third. I mean, it was a draw, but I mean, dude, Evan Dunham's a beast, and he's been looking better than ever. He might have changed with Joe Lauzon's life. I mean, he smoked Lauzon, man, in that fight bad. And I mean, OAM. I mean, I like both these guys. I bet on cash bets on both of them. OAM improves every fight, but the dude just, I don't know what it is. Sometimes in his fights, he just it's like a little mental with him. I mean, look, he was smoking Tony Martin, and Tony Martin took his back. And if Evan Dunham takes your back in the third round, I think you could choke him out. So I'm gonna have to go Dunham. I think he's gonna go out there and win a decision. I don't think it's gonna be a finish here, but OAM is live. I'll say that for sure. He's definitely a live dog, but I just think Dunham has the better stand up, and I think on the ground it's close, but I think Dunham has the better wrestling, and I just don't see OAM tapping him out on the ground. I think on the ground it's very close. It could go either way, but I think the cardio has to go to Dunham here. So, and the toughness. Evan Dunham's a super tough dude. And OAM has gotten hurt with some big shots before. Dover dropped him. I'm pretty sure Thibaut Gauthier hurt him too. So I got Dunham by close decision. What about you?
I'm gonna have to go the other way, and I'm gonna go with OAM. To be honest, I'm not that impressed with Dunham. I do just think he's like a durable guy, and that's kind of why he was able to come up with the draw against Benny. Benny was I thought Benny was a better fighter. He just kind of got tired after the first round, so Dunham was able to get a draw. But Benny should have won that fight. I do think OAM is a more skilled fighter. He's what a black belt in judo, a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. His striking's always looking better. He's always improving. So I'm gonna have to go the other way, and I'm gonna have to go with OAM. I think he's gonna get this win right on Saturday night. So yeah, on to the next fight. We got Joe Lauzon versus Chris Gritzmacher. Joe Lauzon just got smoked by Clay Guida. He lost to Stevie Ray. He won to Marcin Held. He won against Marcin Held, but I really think he lost that fight. Chris Gritz is coming off of 2 losses in a row. He got subbed pretty quickly against Davi Ramos and Chas Skelly. But let's be honest, Joe Lauzon is not those guys. And to be honest, I don't think Joe Lauzon wants it anymore. And to me, I think that's a huge part in being in the UFC and being in the fight in general is who wants it more. And in my opinion, it's going to be Chris Gritzmacher. Lauzon, I said, is showing up for a paycheck. Gritz is live here. I'm going to have to go with him, man. I think he's going to get in his face. He's going to defend a takedown, and he's going to survive. I'm just worried about the first round. And to be honest, I think if Gritz can either finish him or if Joe Lauzon shows up and gives one round in him, which is pretty much all he has on his best day, then I'm expecting Gritz to grind out the last 2, weather the storm. Hopefully he doesn't get subbed. So just because of that, I'm putting 3 units on Gritz. Because Lauzon still has a submission threat, or else I wouldn't. Or else I'd probably with Gritz. I probably would max bet in the situation, but it's a situation here because I do think Lauzon might be able to do something in the first round. So yeah, man, I put 3 units on Gritz because I think he wants it more, and yeah.
Yeah, man, I got 4 units on Gritz, and a lot of people are out there saying he's a jobber and all this. You can say he's a jobber all you want, but it's all about the spot. I don't think Lauzon has it anymore. I don't think his chin has it anymore. When Quaglita knocks you out, the guy, I mean, has like, what, 4 knockouts out of 50 fights? I mean, I think Quaglita smoked him in like, what, 50 seconds? And Joe hasn't won a fight since Diego Sanchez. I mean, let's be honest. There's no way he beat Held. Held smoked him in that fight. And Held's a jobber, man. I mean, Held's terrible, dude, in my opinion. I mean, the UFC just, didn't even sign him. And I just don't think Lauzon, I mean, like you said, he has, decent submissions. I mean, but it's not the same Joe. That's the thing. He's not, man. I mean, he has 1 round in him, maybe even a half a round. The dude gasses out every fight. And I think it's a good matchup for Gritz. Gritz just, needs to keep it on the feet. But look at the fight against Davy Ramos. That was a war, dude. I mean, that was a back-and-forth fight. He had his moments. He hurt Davy on the feet. Lauzon would have got, I mean, what do you think Davy Ramos would have done to Lauzon? I mean, it would have been a 2-minute finish. And he lasted 3 rounds in that fight, and he got tapped out in the 3rd round. But he got taken down about 4 or 5 times. Got back up. Obviously, got choked out in the 3rd round. But do you think Joe Lauzon has cardio to go in the 3rd round? No, he doesn't. And I just think that it's a good matchup. I think Chris, he pushes the pace. He's gonna pressure you, and that's gonna be bad for Joe Lauzon. Chris has a very good chin. He eats shots to give a shot, and sprawl and brawl, man. I mean, he throws bombs, and I just think that chin on Joe Lauzon is gonna go to sleep. I think it's a good matchup for Chris. I think he's gonna go out there and get a 1st round knockout. But hey, if Lauzon makes it out in the 1st round, I think he finish him in the 2nd, the 3rd. I think he can win a decision. But I like Chris, man. I mean, the dude trains at ATT now, and I think we saw the best Gritz so far in the UFC last fight. So don't act like that was an easy fight for Ramos. I mean, Ramos' fighters were definitely sweating. That was a back-and-forth war, dude. And I just don't think Lauzon has a war in him anymore. I think that, if he doesn't take the takedown early, it's going to be all she wrote for him. And even if he gets the takedown, dude, I'm not going to be that worried. I think Chris can get back up, man. So especially if he makes it out of the 1st round, dude, Lauzon, I mean, it's over, man. I mean, Chris is going to finish him late. So I guess my only worry is, make it out of the 1st round. But even if he doesn't, I think he can get the finish. So I got Gritz. I think he's going to push the pace and, just connect on that chin, dude. So I think Lauzon's done, and he's going to retire, and we'll see who Gritz fights next. But, yeah, I got Gritz, 4 units. So next fight, we got Ray Borg versus Brandon Moreno. It's a pretty good fight. I think it's pretty close, actually. A lot of people think that Borg is, easy money. I actually disagree. Moreno's a pretty good dude. I mean, the dude has very good jiu-jitsu. His striking's improved. I mean, yeah, Sergio Pettis, beat him in a 5-round fight, but Sergio Pettis is a pretty tough dude, I think Sergio Pettis is way better striking than Borg. Borg is a good grappler, though. But my thing is, Borg has very good grappling, but, I mean, Justin Scoggins out-grappled him. And Moreno has, very good jiu-jitsu, man. So, I mean, if Borg takes him down, could he get tapped out? I mean, who knows? I think it's a close fight, actually. I do think Moreno's live, dude. I think Moreno has the better striking, too, to be honest. And he has a very good chin. If he makes this a war, I think he could win. But, I mean, Borg could out-grapple him. He out-grappled Formiga. But my worry if I bet on Borg is, getting solid because Moreno has very good jiu-jitsu, man. That jiu-jitsu's nasty. So I'm going to have to go with Moreno, man, for the upset. I'm not confident in betting him, though. I bet him versus Dustin Ortiz. I won that bet. But I just, I understand Ray Borg is a beast. I know he got smoked against DJ, but everyone gets smoked against DJ. But I just think Moreno is going to make this, a dirty war. And I think he can actually tap out Borg. So I got Moreno by a 2nd round sub, but I just don't have the balls to bet it. What about you?
I'm going to have to go the other way. I'm going to go with Ray Borg. I do think the line is off because, Moreno is a good fighter. And, he's got some good jiu-jitsu, like you said. He's got a good guillotine and some heavy hands. But I do think Ray Borg is going to be the better grappler, and he's going to use his wrestling. I mean, Formiga's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and if he couldn't sub Ray Borg, I don't think Moreno's going to be able to. I mean, DJ was able to sub Borg, but that's DJ, and DJ's on another level than the rest of these 125ers. So I'm just going to have to go with Ray Borg because he's a more consistent fighter. I've seen more of him, and I think he's going to be able to avoid the submissions and keep Moreno on his back. So next fight, we got Felicia Herrig versus Carolina Kowalkiewicz. And I'm going to have to go with the upset, and I'm going to have to go with Felice Herrig. You know, she's shown some really good grappling recently, and I think she's going to use that to get the win. Carolina, she's got some holes in her grappling. She got subbed by Claudia or finished real quick. I just remember her getting dominated on the mat. So, yeah, man, if Felice Herrig decides to strike with her, I think she's going to have a hard time, but I do not think she's going to do that. I think she's going to take her down. She's pretty buff, and I think she's going to be able to impose her will, man. Carolina's too skinny. Rose had a hard time with her, but that was Rose. I think Felice has a different type of grappling, and it's a bad matchup for Carolina. So I'm going to have to go with Felice. What about you?
Yeah, I got Herrig too. You know, I'm a big fan of Herrig. You know, I've bet her multiple times. I wanted to better this fight, but you know, something told me to stay away. But yeah, I think she's gonna win, man. I think she has very good grappling. Claudia exposed KK, and I think you know Herrig has similar grappling, maybe even better grappling than Claudia, and she's definitely turned a quarter. You know, last fight against Courtney Casey, she won the fight, but I mean, she chose to strike too much. I think she should have took it down a little more. And if she does that here, if she doesn't use her grappling, she's going to lose because KK is definitely the better striker. But Herrig's striking is improved too. But I hope Herrig, you know, uses her grappling because she has a huge advantage on the mat. But that's one reason why I passed, because I don't know if she's going to do that. You know, she might be falling in love with the striking. She might not even choose to go for the takedown. But if she does, she's going to go ahead.
I think what happened last fight is that like she was going for a takedown, but they were pretty close matched up on the grappling. I remember Casey like kind of swept her and took her on and got her back, and I mean not got her back, but got her on the put Herrig on her back after Felice got the takedown. So I think that's what happened last time. I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Yeah, this is one thing I have, just because like on the feet it was like pretty close, so I wanted her to go for more takedowns because I mean I know she got swept, but I thought you know she had more success on the ground. But obviously KK is a way better striker than Courtney Casey. KK has good volume, man. She has good striking, but you know she didn't look that good her last fight against a huge jobber. So you know I do think Herrig's gonna win, but you know I'm more confident in my bets that I have. So, but yeah, I got Herrig to get the win. So speaking about bets, I got my second bet. We got Iaquinta versus Paul Felder. And, you know, a lot of people out there are really high on Paul Felder, and I just don't see why, dude. The dude's so inconsistent. I mean, are you really confident the dude that lost to Ross Pearson? I mean, he went to a split with Josh Berkman. In my opinion, I know a lot of people agree with me on this. He lost to Josh Berkman. And people are like, oh, my God, he went on a 3-fight losing streak. Okay, but let's talk before the losing streak. He almost lost to Darren Cruikshank. And Darren Cruikshank beat his ass in the first 2 rounds. And then, you know, he tapped out Cruikshank. But this isn't Cruikshank. This is Iaquinta. Do you really think Felder's going to tap out Iaquinta? Yeah, I don't think so. Then he goes out there and, you know, knocks out Alexander Ricci, who works at Subway right by my house. And, I mean, that was kind of a back-and-forth fight until, you know, he broke his nose. And that dude's a job. He's not even in the UFC anymore. Then he goes out there and knocks out Stevie Ray. And, I mean, me and you talk about this all the time. Stevie Ray sucks. He's trash. I mean, he's one of the worst fighters in the division. Cajun Johnson just exposed him. I don't think Stevie Ray is good at all, in my opinion. He's a huge hype job. And then he goes out there and beats one of the biggest quitters in the whole UFC, Charles Oliveira. And Oliveira, I mean, had his back. I mean, he won that first round, dude. I mean, he almost tapped him out. And Oliveira belongs at 145. I just don't think the dude has any business at 155. He's too small. He's not stronger than all these guys. And I know, you know, the only red flag here is Iaquinta, you know, where's his head at? You know, he hasn't fought one time in 4 years against Diego Sanchez, but, you know, I think the dude's boxing's legit. I think his style is actually bad for Felder because Felder likes to use his distance, use his kicks, but, you know, Iaquinta pushes the pace, dude. And, you know, he has a very good chin, very good boxing, and he's not going to give him any space. And he actually has the grappling advantage, too. Iaquinta has very good wrestling, man. I mean, he has good wrestling. I mean, he beat Kevin Lee with his wrestling and his striking. And I just think Iaquinta is a better fighter. And a lot of people want to talk about the Jorge Masvidal fight. And I actually rewatched that fight. And I actually think that Iaquinta won that fight. Masvidal won the first round, but he didn't do shit the second and third round. Iaquinta pushed the pace and threw more. So I do agree with the decision. And I just think Felder's, you know, inconsistent. You can't trust the guy. Where's his fight IQ at? When when you brawl with him is when he doesn't do good. He gets all mad. His face, he gets frustrated. And I think that's like what Iaquinta needs to do. He needs to, you know, push the pace, get in his face, and use that boxing, dude, and just frustrate him. I think that's what he's gonna do. Iaquinta's, a beast, dude. He's, one of my favorite fighters in the division. I'm really high on this kid, and I'm glad he's back. And I think he has more ways to win. I don't see Felder tapping him out. I mean, I know his weakness is he has a couple losses by sub. Chiesa tapped him out. Mitch Clark, but that was a fluke. I mean, this isn't Darren Cruikshank. There's no way that Felder's gonna tap this kid out. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I got Iaquinta by a finish. I think he's gonna go out there and knock out Paul Felder in the second round. I think his boxing is gonna be too crisp, and he's not gonna get Felder in his face. And in my opinion, man, Felder he doesn't belong fighting the top 15 guys. I don't think he's a jobber by any means, but I just don't think I think the dude's overrated, and he's not in that league with Iaquinta, and you're gonna find that out on Saturday. So I got Iaquinta by finish. What about you?
Yeah, I got Iaquinta too. I think he's gonna win the fight. Like we were talking about earlier, Felder, man, he's really inconsistent. Sometimes he does good, and sometimes he loses to Ross Pearson. But like you said too, Iaquinta hasn't fought. He does real estate, he fights. So like, what does he want to do with his career? Is he fully devoted in the game? But then at the same time, Felder's announcing and shit like that. So I don't know. To me, both of these, it's a huge pass. But I am going to go with Iaquinta because I do think he's a more consistent fighter. He is better. I do think he's got more potential. He has really good training partners around him, really good coaches. I just think if he fully devoted, and if he really wanted to and really devoted himself, and Mark, like, he can be really big, man. He's got a lot of talent and really good hands, and he's got finishing power, man. So he can do good things if he wanted to. So I'm gonna go with Iaquinta because I do think he's the more consistent fighter, but pass on betting perspective because it's kind of hard to tell where this fight's gonna go. So next fight, man, fight I do think that is easy to tell what's gonna happen is Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. And Michael Chiesa just got choked out by Kevin Lee. It was a very controversial chokeout. It was late in the round. He didn't tap. He wasn't really out yet. He was going to go out, but he wasn't out yet. So it was super controversial. Probably wouldn't have. I mean, it was probably still going to happen no matter what. But I mean, before that, Michael Chiesa had a pretty impressive win over Benny Dariush. He was kind of getting outstriked. He showed his toughness, and his pressure eventually was too much for Benny in the second round, and he was able to get his back and choke him out, which is what I think is going to happen to Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis, we're starting to see the decline of him, Anthony Pettis. He used to be very good back in the day when when I think BJ Penn was fighting or something like that. Or no, I'm just kidding. But maybe no, who was it? Frankie lost to Benson Henderson. It was back in the day when
Benson Henderson was in the UFC.
Back in the day when Benson Henderson was in the UFC. That's when Anthony Pettis was good. Ever since Rafael Dos Anjos beat him, we haven't seen the same. And Rafael Dos Anjos also pretty much laid out a game plan on how to beat Anthony Pettis. You do not give him any space to do that flashy shit, and you get in his face and you pressure and you pressure and you pressure, and eventually he's gonna break. I mean, Dustin Poirier fucking mounted him, and Anthony Pettis tapped to it. Like, I guess his rib was hurt, but come on, either his rib was hurt or he didn't want to get fucking pounded in his face, and it could have been either the other. But most fighters would have just. Most fighters don't tap to a hurt rib like that. So so I do think Michael Chiesa is going to pressure Anthony Pettis. It's going to be too much for him. He's going to grapple him. He's going to get the body lock, and he's going to take him down. I'm not concerned about Anthony Pettis's triangles or arm bars. I think they're desperate moves that don't really work anymore. I mean, it could work. If there's still a possibility of it happening, that's why I'm not max betting it. but I'm thinking it's very unlikely to happen that Anthony Pettis gets a triangle or anything of that nature. I think Chiesa's jiu-jitsu is better than Anthony Pettis, and I think he's gonna pass his guard. I don't think he's gonna chill in his guard, and yeah, man, he's gonna follow the game plan, pressure him, take him down, and grind him out. And if he doesn't get the finish, I think he's gonna get the decision. So I'm gonna have to go with Chiesa, and I got 3 units on him at plus 100. So, what about you?
Yeah, man, I got my last bet. I got 4 units on Chiesa, and I just think he's the way better grappler here. I think he has a huge size advantage on the mat. On the feet, it's close, but this isn't the same Pettis from 5 years ago. I mean, you know, if this is 5 years ago, Pettis has the better striking, but I think it's close. I think Chiesa actually, you know, striking's improved a lot. This dude dropped Masvidal. I mean, this dude is nasty in the clinch, and it's a bad match for Pettis. I mean, Chiesa is not going to give him distance. Chiesa is, you know, he pushes the pace, he pressures you, and dude, Chiesa is very nasty in the clinch. I think Chiesa is going to have a lot of success in the clinch. And Chiesa is one of the best grapplers in the division. He has very good wrestling. He's going to rinse and repeat. I mean, I think he's a better grappler than Dustin, and Dustin had his way with him. And the dude tapped to a body triangle. I mean, it showed that he's a quitter. I mean, I just don't think he wants it anymore. He can't hang with the top guys in the division. I mean, he could even finish Jim Miller. So, I mean, come on, where's his head at? And the dude just fought at featherweight a couple fights ago. Michael Chiesa, I'm pretty sure he cuts from like 200 pounds. He's going to have a huge strength advantage here. It's not even going to be funny. And I just think that Chiesa is the way bigger dude, the way better grappler. Huge advantage on the mat. On the feet, I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it's easy money for Pettis at all. So I think it's, you know, a close fight on the feet. And, you know, Pettis is, not Pettis, but Chiesa, you know, has a very good chin. I mean, he's been finished one time, you know, on the feet, but that was a doctor stoppage when Joe Lauzon was in his prime. And Chiesa was actually, you know, definitely winning that combination that he landed on Lauzon, and Lauzon, you know, cut him up and they stopped it, which is pretty dumb stoppage. So I think that Chiesa's winning the fight. It was a long time ago, but yeah, man, I just think it's a bad matchup for Pettis, and he's definitely on the decline. And I'm really high on Chiesa, man. And you know, I bet him versus Kevin Lee is a controversial fight, but this isn't Kevin Lee, this is Pettis, and I think Chiesa's gonna go out there and tap him out, man. So I got Chiesa by a second round sub, and you basically said everything, you know, with the Benny and Jim Miller fight. So yeah, I got Chiesa. The next fight, we got Moicano versus Calvin Kattar. This is a close fight, dude. This is one of the closest fights on the card. It's really hard betting this fight because I just don't have a solid read. I mean, both these dudes are really good, but I'm just gonna have to go with Calvin Kattar, man. I think his boxing is better. I think he can keep it on the feet. Moicano's, you know, he's no slouch, man, but the dude showed his fight IQ is not really there. I mean, it was a 1-1 fight with T-City, and then you take the guy down that has the best jiu-jitsu in the division. I mean, that just shows that I don't know, man. I think T-City must have hurt him on the feet, or this shows you don't have fight IQ. But T-City was messing him up in that fight. That was, a lot of people thought that was 2-0 Moicano. You guys are blind. That was 1-1, dude. T-City was throwing bombs on him. And, you know, Calvin Kattar just knocked out Burgos, and I'm super high on Burgos. And, dude, Kattar's boxing is super technical. That's what I like about him. And Moicano has technical boxing too, which I think it's going to be a very good fight. If Moicano takes him down, you know, I think he could win. But I just don't think, you know, he's going to be able to out-grapple him. If he takes him down, I think Kattar can get right back up. So, yeah, I got Calvin Kattar. I got him by a 29-28 decision. But I'm not betting this fight. What about you?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. I got Kattar. Just because I do think did I say his name right? Yeah, Kattar. Just because I do think he's got the better fight IQ. You know, he knocked out Burgos. He's got great boxing. He keeps his hands up. He's very technical, and he's got that win over Feely. Feely's no slouch. I guess he's better. You know, he's pretty well rounded. He did beat fucking Artem. So, yeah, Renato Moicano, like you said, has very questionable fight IQ. He pretty much jumped in the guillotine when the fight was very close. Some could say he was maybe even winning. You know, he could have gotten you that 2-1 for sure. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It just shows his fight IQ is not very good. So I'm going to have to go Kattar. I just think he's a better, better IQ, and might have the better boxing to get the wins. Yeah, next fight we got Rose Namajunas versus Joanna Jedrzejczyk. Joanna Jedrzejczyk. And they're going to be rematching for the strawweight title. You know, after the dude in the first fight, Rose completely fucking smoked her, dude. Knocked her down a couple of times, and you know, ended up finishing her. I think made her tap 2 strikes. And then Joanna just kind of was either so fucked up that like she didn't remember tapping the strikes, but she denied it. She started making up excuses about her, you know, her weight cut, this and that, and you know, she started kind of taking away from Rose's victory. You know what I mean? She started making excuses, and at the end of the day, I think Rose just has her number, and I think Rose does have her number. She's a younger fighter, and I think she's going to win again. I think she's probably going to knock her down and take her back and choke her out, just like she probably plans on it this time. She's a younger fighter. She has less miles on her, less wars. So I'm going to have to go with Rose. What about you?
Yeah, I got Rose too. I think Rose is going to go out there and hurt her again, and I think she's going to tap her out. I don't know, man. Just JJ, you know, she's still cocky, and I mean, she's a great fighter, man. But I think Rose has a number, man. Rose went out there and really just smoked her. I think she's gonna do the same thing again. I mean, Rose, you know, has very good striking. She's improved a lot, very good grappling, and JJ has a very hard weight cut. I think she's gonna have to go to 125 after this and fight Paige Van Zandt. But yeah, man, I just don't think JJ, you know, has what it takes to beat Rose. I definitely think Rose is gonna win. I'm not confident in betting it. I think it's like plus 105. I think it was like plus 180. I wish I would have got that one, but that's like 2 months ago. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it's one of those girl fights. It's, you know, it could be competitive. You know, I will say this though, if JJ if it makes it out of like the second or third round, she could definitely win because she has good cardio. Even though she has bad weight cuts, but dude, she's been in a lot of 5-round fights. I mean, Rose, you know, definitely gasses. So, I mean, if Rose doesn't get her out of there early, I mean, it could be sweaty, man. So JJ could definitely win. She has experience, you know. But I do hope that Rose wins so she can fight Andrade because that will be a really good fight. But, yeah, I got Rose by sub. So next fight, we were going to have Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. I had a huge bet on Ferguson. You were picking Khabib. Yeah, it sucks, but, you know, we'll have to break down this fight. I will say this, though. You know, if Max was not coming to this fight injured, because I mean he just got injured, you know, recently he pulled out of the Edgar fight. I think he'd be live. I mean, I really think he would have a good chance to win, but I gotta go with Khabib. You know, I just think he's, you know, has a huge size advantage here. I know Max is, you know, not a small featherweight at all. He's a big dude, but Khabib's just super strong, and I thought Tony would have had a lot of success, you know, in this fight. And I think Tony has, you know, way better jiu-jitsu than Max Holloway. Max Holloway hasn't been taken down in a long time, but those are against featherweights. I mean, Khabib's a lightweight. Khabib could fight a welterweight right now, you know. So I think Khabib is going to put a pace on him, and I think he's going to take him down at will. I think he might even hurt Max on the feet, and I think Khabib's going to get him out of there. So I think he's a very good DraftKings play. I'm not going to bet him at minus 800 or whatever it is, but yeah, I'm pretty confident in Khabib. But I will say this here on the show. I know you agree with me. Actually, I don't know if you agree with me on both of them, but T-City beats both of them. So, but yeah, I will be betting T-City huge against Max. And I think T-City beats Khabib too. But yeah, I think he beats Khabib.
Maybe subs him. Maybe subs Khabib. Just because I think T-City's grappling is – I do think T-City does have better jiu-jitsu than Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, he does. He does, man, for sure.
Especially better guard jiu-jitsu. He's got that old school Gracie jiu-jitsu that fucking just works in these fights, man. And like he's showing it, man. It's like taking it and if you're like a jiu-jitsu fan, it's kind of hard not to like T-City right now. Just subbing people, finishing people.
His striking,
everybody,
so
man.
Good, man. His striking is
he finds a way to finish. He's a problem solver in the fight. You know, like he'll take some punches here and there. He can take a punch too. And he'll end up finding people out and figuring out how to fucking finish you. And he'll do it, man. Like, look at what happened to Cub, dude. He got him towards the first round. He figured him out. And then, and then right away, he fucking guillotined his ass like so easy, man. He's just so smooth and so he's like he really fights like water, and you know, he's a true martial artist and uses the path of least resistance. But I guess we can talk about T City all day.
Yeah, but yeah. So I got Khabib. I think he's gonna win. But yeah, we could make a whole show about T City. So I mean, just don't fade the guy. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna be betting him for a very long time because the guy's not losing. But for all you guys out there, real quick, just don't fade him because you're gonna lose. He's not gonna lose anytime unless he fights like Curtis Blades. Okay, then he might lose. But from right now, like he's not losing for a very long time. But with my prediction on Max Khabib, I got Khabib. But you know, Max has a shot. Obviously, you know, he's a very good striker. He's very long, but I just don't know if he has that takedown offense against Khabib. And I think Khabib's gonna go out there and make it look easy. But hey, if Khabib loses this fight, I mean, wow, that's crazy. Max might fight Conor McGregor next. Who knows? I actually hope Max loses because I want to see T City fight Khabib. So I got Khabib by finish, and I hope Khabib fights Tony Ferguson in the future. Who knows if I'll be betting Ferguson again though, because I don't know how Tony's gonna look coming off his injury. He's getting older, so who knows? But yeah, I got Khabib. What about you?
Yeah, you know what time it is, bro. What time is it?
Ferguson time.
What time is it? Come on, you just say
time. It's T City time, man.
Khabib time, and I got Khabib, and Max is moving up. I think this the short notice is going to be a kind of a big deal too. He's coming in kind of heavy at like fucking like what 170 or something like that.
Dude, he's way heavier than that.
175 or something like that. So this weight cut's going to be tough on him. So he just came off of an ankle injury, so he hasn't been training that much either. Khabib's actually been like focusing, and the thing about Khabib is that like it doesn't really matter if you change up the opponent because he's going to come at you the same way. He's doing the same shit. He's coming at you, pressuring you, and he's going to take you down at will. And I think he's going to get the body lock. What's crazy is that he's got longer reach than Max Holloway, so he's going to be able to get the clinch. And I think once he gets the clinch, it's over. Hopefully he finishes Max and doesn't punish him for 25 rounds because it could be a long night. And I hope that Max comes out the same that night because he's a great guy. I'm a huge fan, but I just think that the lightweight is going to be too much for him, man. Khabib's just going to be too big, and he cut weight the right way. So yeah, man, I got Khabib by destruction. By Maul.
By Maul. Let's talk about our bets. I got 4 units on Chiesa. I got 2 units on Iaquinta. And I got 4 units on Gritz against the Ghost of Joe. What about you?
I got 3 units on Gritz and 3 units on Chiesa.
So Team Bro Picks, man. We're both on Gritz. We're both on Chiesa. Are you gonna make any more plays or no?
Nah.
And then we went pretty heavy on DraftKings. Obviously, we're not gonna say all of our plays on DraftKings, but yeah, I mean, I definitely say that Rose is a good DraftKings play. I think Gritz is a good DraftKings play. He's a big underdog. Khabib, obviously, Max is pretty low, but I'm not gonna be putting Max in there. I don't think he's gonna win, So, but anything else you want to say?
Yeah, like you said, I like some dogs. I think are Chiesa and Gritz. We got plays on them. They're good dogs. Khabib, I think he's at a good price for what his line is currently at. And yeah, man, there's other good plays. You can hit me up too. So like you said, we can't tell you all the plays, but we'll give you some spots for sure.
So all right, guys. Follow us on Twitter at UFC Bro Picks for me, and then for Ricky Jitsu.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week. We got a pretty good card. UFC Glendale. Holloway Oliveira versus Khan just got added. That should be a good fight. The main event's a very good fight. There's a lot of good fights, man. I already have a couple plays, before the odds are coming out, obviously. But yeah, we'll be talking about that next week. And I hope everyone cashes their bets. And good luck. And we'll see you next week. Later, guys. And it's Team Gritz, by the way, guys. Team Gritz.